so we're here at Assos Europe, Germany, in Darmstadt with Peter and Tomek. So how are you guys doing?
Very good. Thank you.
The weather is great. Everything
It's hot.
It is hot, yeah, but we have a ventilator in the back and a bike ride to look to in the afternoon. So,
Assos was founded in 1976 by Tony Meyer. It was interesting to me as he found an inspiration from skiing, so that's why the Lycra shorts became popular. So, do you guys know this? Like in this day and age, so almost 5 decades later, does Assos get the inspiration from any other sport as well, or it's only cycling?
no, actually, Roschmeyer, who's like executive director, and he's the one that is mostly responsible for all the products that we put into production. So him being the son, he has the same passion that his father had, or actually even more. His inspirations are often also coming from the motorsport. He's like a big car fan, and he's trying to think mechanically also about a lot of things. That's why also the technical approach was the same with the senior. He was also a very technical minded, and that's what he wanted to bring to the cycling world. And the funny thing is that Assos actually started not from making clothes, but the initial idea of Tony Meyer was to build the first carbon bike in the world, and that was in the mid-70s during the Cold War crazy era where he had to buy the carbon from Americans, sign an extra contract that he's never going to sell it to Russians and so on. So yeah, but right now I think motorsport is probably the one that's peeking through the most, just by looking at the names of some items and some solutions on the shorts. I would say motorsport.
Yeah, especially the son is Roach is very passionate to motor sports, but he's from the beginning he's a fan of. He's a real cyclist. He's a very good cyclist, and his father, who was in the third generation an owner of a bicycle shop in Switzerland, as Tomek mentioned, he was an engineer. He was always aiming to have something new, to do the best, to do the fastest bike ever, and that time he did. And as you had also mentioned, he was in the wind tunnel with that bike, with that carbon bike, which was fabulous in that time. And he was, by the way, touching the ski jumpers or the downhill skiers in the tunnel as well. They were also or were already using Lycra as a fabric, and were testing in that tunnel. And there comes the swap from, this is a nice fabric, and it would be nice that the riders have such a material to be more aerodynamic than they had ever been. In that time, it was wool or polyester. That was not really funny to ride with those apparel or with this apparel. And so it came that he did the first time a trail suit made of Lycra by DuPont, the company, and he was thinking further and created the first Lycra shorts, and the bib shorts the first.
I listened to, or I read somewhere that a lot of teams were using Assos shorts like in the next couple of years then, and they had the logo scratched off because they were sponsored from a different cycling company, like that was in 1978, somewhere like that. So is that still happening, or?
It's still happening. We still put inserts into other brands' shorts only for pro riders if they ask and if they pay for that. And there are several, I can tell you a lot. But that was really starting famous because while in the 70s, late 70s or in the 80s, all the riders like to have or aim to have a Lycra short, and they were moving to Switzerland to Tony Meyer to buy these. And indeed, they had sometimes a contract, and then they had to scratch off the logo, and we're using that. There are some pictures on the podium where all of these three riders are Assos riders, Assos shorts riders, but only one of them could wear these officially. That's yeah, part of the history.
Yeah, I remember Assos like in a previous company we started selling it probably almost 2 decades ago, and I remember it only had like 3 shorts, and now 2 decades later the shorts are 5 times as many. Is that because the cyclists we became so spoiled that we need shorts for every different type of cycling? So if you're an amateur or if you're like a long distance rider, maybe gravel, cross country, and then you have racers. So
I think I wouldn't say that the cyclists have become more spoiled. I think their needs have become more specialized. And in order to meet their needs, the shorts need to be tailored a bit differently to those needs to really like, if you're just a hobby rider, you're not going to have fun in a really tight compressive racing shorts. And the other way around, the racer is not going to get enough support from a short that's dedicated for comfort. So it's about finding the right fit for you and for the type of cycling that you're doing, and just to have that best experience you can have with that product.
Yeah, there are the different types of riders. May I also turn back to the history where also the first foam inserts were inserted of Tony Meyer and Roach Meyer into the Lycra shorts, while this new material came up. In the beginning it was leather or a kind of other leather or called, how is it called?
Chamois.
Yeah, different chamois. And at that time, all other brands were just putting one insert into the shorts. But the Meyers were thinking over what kind of type is riding the bike. Is he a pro rider? Is he an amateur rider? Is he riding for longer distance? How does he move on the saddle? What shall the shorts or shall the insert or must do the insert? What should it bring, or what benefit should it bring? And this was the first time where they start to differentiate between racer one and long distance, or let's say a kind of hobby rider shorts.
Is it also like a difference between heavier rider? You would recommend like bib shorts that have a thicker chamois, or that doesn't matter as much? It's more like if you ride for longer periods, shorter periods, or does your body weight even matter with the bib shorts? Or
that's somehow different, and it depends really also on the rider. We have different shapes of the chamois. We have different kind of materials or constructions, how to connect these foam parts. And some riders really like thinner material. Some like it more thicker and would like to have more comfort. It also depends on the position on the bike, what kind of chamois you prefer or what kind of short you prefer. Meanwhile, we have different lycras also to offer. The really compressive one, a more soft one, and a regular one, let's say. And this is not, there's no wrong or right in doing that. Also between or the pro riders, there's what you prefer, how you ride the bike, and what are you doing, and that's the main thing.
I think if I can add one thing to that, regardless of the density and the thickness of the foam, the important thing for us, and we believe also for a good pair of cycling shorts, is that the insert that you have, that it's always where it should be. So it's always stabilized in the right place, and that's what we put really great care to really make sure it's always there where you need it, because in a lot of cases it will move around, and whenever you sit back on the saddle, you then have to correct your position, distracting yourself also from the ride and from the experience that you get on the bike. So a good pair of shorts is to find the right one for you. Everybody's a bit different, everybody's individual, has their own preferences, so it pays off to really invest that time in finding the right pair of shorts for you, because and the right pair of shorts for you is the one that you're not going to be thinking of when you're riding on the bike. Therefore you just focus on riding and getting the pleasure of that.
Yeah, I remember I started with the S2 collection, then it was S5, S7, and now it's the S9, and especially with the bibs, how they're attached to the shorts. I think that's I think you're the first ones. I don't know if you guys have a patent on it or not, but it definitely holds the chamois where it needs to be, even when you're out of the saddle. It's the new shorts are perfect, and for next year I think they're in, even this year they're in all the ranges.
Yeah, so this is the solution, the A-lock that we put in the back, and especially on the Equipe model, where you're really pedaling intensively outside of the saddle a lot of the times. We have actually the solution that was inspired by motorsport. It's called the roll bar. It's kind of imitating suspension on the race car when you're in the curve and the suspension stays flat. This way, when you're lifting one leg, the chamois on the other side is getting pulled up as well, so it's always staying where it should be. That's why we say that it's total comfort stabilized. Yeah.
And also, your chamois doesn't have gel inside. How come is that? Because what we hear in the stores, from let's say cyclists that are just starting, they think the chamois needs to have a gel inside. So what's the what's the story?
It's really I don't know which brands do gel inside. I think it's only a few. It came up 10 years ago that it might be really good, but think about that. The gel can soak up water, or it's a barrier for water. So all the water which you sweat in that area will stay there and will not evaporate away. That's really difficult, and furthermore, the reaction of gel is very, very slow. And if you're really fast paddling with a cadence of, let's say, 80 to 110 or whatever, then it's really an up and down, and the reaction of the foam we are using is very, very fast. So it's like suspension, yeah, on a car. It really always have contact, and it follows the body, so you have total comfort the whole time through.
The other thing is also the longevity of the product. This is also something that we care for. What's important for us is that, buy less but buy better, and therefore the length of the product life is just so much longer, the lifespan of the product. Gel has a tendency to seep through the material, become sticky after you wash it, and it's not like really hygienic. It's nice to feel in the beginning. For me, it's good for a mouse pad, but I wouldn't necessarily ride with a gel pad inside my shorts.
So do you guys maybe remember what's the best product that Assos put out? Because you've been with the company for quite a long time in this day and age. So, because do you know what's the product that you guys would point out that it was the best product since you guys joined the company is? Because for me, probably in the last, 5 years now. It was for sure it was the shorts with the bibs. So if you guys have any.
To me, if you ask me, I was surprised. I was already aware, and I already worn Assos shorts before I joined the company. But really surprising me was my winter jacket. It was the Bonka jacket. And the first day I was riding that, I threw all my others away because it was so nicely calibrated that you, with only one base layer, had been able to ride up and down and close to 0 degree. It was, to me, the most spectacular product we have. It's a little, let's say, kind of underrated. For many of the people, we are famous for the shorts, which is good, and we are famous for the chamois cream. But the jerseys, the upper parts, and the accessories are a little underrated, especially the winter products, where it's even more important to have a really good working product on hand.
For me, it's actually similar. I think it's because we take the shorts for granted. Working for us is that you kind of expect the shorts are always going to be really good. And I remember for me the product that really exceeded my expectations was the rain jacket, a very heavy rain jacket we actually had in collection for years and years because people were still asking about it. It was the Sturm Prince. It was the really heavy rain jacket. And I remember one time I was riding in November and it started to rain. I just had it in my back pocket, luckily. And that's when I put it on in the first one. It was a mixture of rain and snow, so really nasty weather. But when I put it on, it was like you kind of switched off the button and you felt nothing, none of that. Just felt the comfort.
Yeah, I have both of those, and I can agree with you guys because it's. And maybe I can add also the Perez spring fall jacket. I think that's
a nice one too.
To me, that jacket with the vest, and you can ride it from almost like 5 degrees, or I rode it around 0 degrees as well with the winter base layer, and it was still like with the Bunka. The problem is if you start to sweat a lot pretty fast, like I do, it only comes in the range from, let's say, just a little bit below 0 to 6 degrees, and then it's too
it's too hot indeed.
It's like a strong winter jacket. So.
Yeah.
And do you guys maybe remember the best product that you guys thought that it's going to like work out, and it was a flop, so that it didn't work and it went out of the production, or maybe it didn't last for more than a year or two?
I think for me that's the speed suits that we did, because they are the most technologically advanced, and we put a lot of effort into those. The materials are like crazy advanced, very aerodynamic, and so on. But I think just because it's like such a specialty item that it just there's not a lot of market for it, not a lot of people that just need a speed suit like that, even though on paper it offers you like the best possibility of reaching your maximum potential.
Yeah, I'm thinking about a wind vest which was called emergency vest, and that was just on the upper breast part. To me, still a very, very nice product for riders, for seriously riders. Big reflectors, just you can grab on your pockets if you want to. It's protecting you from the wind and from colder weather. Very calibrated for racers, but not successful on the market. Sorry.
And how long does, for example, the R&D for one product take? Because I know a couple of years ago for the new bib shorts, it was said, of course, like bib shorts from scratch, not that just like maybe something is added to the short. So it was around 5 to 7 years. It took from, I don't know, from S2 to S5 collection and so on.
It's still the same. You mentioned that before. It was the S2. It started early, 2001 or whatever, or two, and then we ended up at the S9 generation, which is presently our highest level. In the background, since 3 years,
Was introduced in 2018, so it's already 4 years in the market.
Yeah, but Roche is still working on, or already working on the S11 generation.
Yeah, it never stops. I think what makes us special in a way is that we are always kind of thinking step ahead and not looking necessarily at what everybody else is doing, but just try to get as close to perfection as we can, and that's just like on a insanity level when it comes to Roach. But no, I just admire that because he's never satisfied with what's done. He's always looking how to improve it and what's the next step going to be, because
Yeah, I think I have that feeling as well, because like I have a feeling that Assos does what it makes sense to Assos, and like pushing the boundaries more and more. And I think it's probably one of the rare companies that everybody sees what other companies are doing, but it's Assos really do take it to heart when somebody like puts out a one good product. Do you look at that, or are you just like, yeah, it's good, but we have this and that, and it's
Of course, we do gonna look what's going on the market and what is the demand of the end consumer, what is presently going on, like gravel or whatever. We have also to react on that and also look over the fence to other brands what they are doing. But we're not driven about that. We know what riders need. We are working since more than 40 years on that, and like to be as close as possible to the really seriously riders or pro riders. And we always push to develop more and better. New fabrics, new technology helps on that. And this is the main driver of the company, that we always aim to do better. Even we have a good product, we like to enhance that for the next generation better than ever. And indeed, we always aim to have the best product on market. Yeah, that's our goal, whether we reach it or not.
yeah, keep improving.
Yeah. And what's also interesting is just the whole process. It's not that Roche is thinking of some idea and then it's getting into production. We actually have our own testing team. We have our own textile laboratory that develops all of the materials that we use in our products, with cycling in mind, because so cycling being probably one of the most difficult sports for the apparel to work in, especially when you go into the mountains. At the bottom you can have close to 30 degrees, and whereas in the top it can be rain, it can be close to zero. So like really the extremities in there. And the products, we actually have our own testing team that's giving live feedback to the R&D team, and telling if something's working, if the material is right, if the fit is right, and doing all of that. For some products, I know we've had more than 80 prototypes produced just to reach the final stage of it.
Yeah, we will go to the Werksmannschaft team in a couple of questions later. The first thing I need to go on to ask you is, you just mentioned that cycling is one of the toughest sports to develop, like really good high-end apparel. I was like, when I started cycling, everything felt like expensive to me. But then I started to think, okay, you start at, I don't know, like if you are riding in Bormia, you start at maybe 30 degrees, when you go up to Stelvio, it can be like 2 degrees. So how to dress for that? Because when you go skiing, you put on a winter jacket, and yeah, it's you go downhill and then you're in the ski lift, and that's pretty much it. So with cycling, it's I think when you sweat a lot, when you go uphill, and then, the ski equipment, it's pretty expensive compared to the cycling. But if we look at it from the technical standpoint, when you go out skiing, you don't like ski uphill. So the so
the need of the or for cycling is, as you described it already, you have to climb up, you're sweating a lot, there can be nice warm weather in the valley, and up the hill it's getting colder, or if you go down the hill with the wind and whatever, you have temperatures which doesn't allow to have a failed product, let's say. So you need to have products which are able to put your sweat away from your body, to keep you warm. Anyhow, the complete intention of the apparel is to keep the body through all weather conditions at a certain temperature where you can give maximum power. Whether it's cold outside, you need to have the temperature of about 36 to 37 degrees, or it is hot outside, the body has, with the apparel you wear, to cool it down to the temperature. And this is very tricky, and it's very challenging to do that, but we face that and try to have solutions on that.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job. So here we are at the question that you just mentioned a couple of questions ago. So the Werksmannschaft team, what's the point of having a team? What do they do? What's the, let's say, the idea behind the, almost like those are the professional riders there, or the
it's a mixture actually. They're being led. The leader of the Werksmannschaft is Daniele Nardello. We're also now closely working with a local racing team, but we also have some riders inside that team that are just like regular passionate cyclists, but not necessarily from the top. So they also can give us feedback on the other products. It's not just about racing for us anymore. Of course, it's an important thing, and that's what's driving the technology. But at the same time, we're also thinking about regular users. So it's a mixture, and it's both men and women. And what they do is they have different body types, they have different silhouettes, different riding styles, and therefore different needs. And they allow us to put out a product that's going to work for the majority of people.
And the Werksmannschaft is also really developing the products. It's not only that this is a rider, an external, you give that and you get a feedback sheet back or whatever you ask him. Those guys riding and testing the products are also developing the products and really can adjust those products and develop them. That's I think somehow a different, perhaps, to other brands, that it is that close, and we always aim to be really close to the sport and the demand of the sport.
The other thing is also not every pro rider can give you a good feedback on a product, because just some don't care. It's the same with the Formula One racing drivers. You hear from the paddock, there's some drivers that can just feel the car. They know what to change on the car to make it run better, and there are some that are just good drivers, but not necessarily
good technically.
Yeah. They just don't feel what the car is doing, and it's the same with our apparel.
Yeah. You guys also mentioned there are now also women who are testing the products and they are giving feedback. I remember probably 5 years ago. It started with more women involvement in with the R&D, and I think a lot of women are celebrating that, because I know we had even now a lot of customers that like I just had one. She said that she's really applauding that Assos is making women's cycling gear like almost in the same year so as the men, so the new equipment, stuff like that. So how did that come to when did that switch came to Assos, so that you guys need to do? Because I remember probably 7 years ago it started. Yeah, we're slowly going to start to develop also women's equipment. So because now I think almost the same amount of products there are for women as there are for men, because 10 years ago was a different story.
Yeah, we nearly mirrored what in the collection for the man should also be in the collection for the women. We like, or we see already that there are a lot of women really seriously cycling, and the numbers of these is getting more and more month by month, year by year. And we would like to be, for those really are passionate into that sport, have an opportunity in our brand to really find the racing gear for women as well. And it's sometimes challenging, and we have to learn at this stage as well. But we're getting better, and also the collection is nearly very wide range for women as well. In shorts we have now many options, and in jerseys, so women can dress well with Assos too.
And is it also, I think now in cycling, it's also some sort of a fashion statement as well? Because cycling, if we look at it like 20 years ago, there were a lot of jerseys from the team or stuff like that. So everybody wanted to have, I don't know, a CSC jersey, or maybe when Armstrong was riding the what was the US Postal one, and I'm not sure. But now a lot of, let's say, the designs are, or they're really clean, or they're just crazy.
I think it has a lot to do with the capabilities of the producers as well. You know, in the past, they didn't really have the availability to produce the wide ranges and all sorts of colors and everything. The other thing is you have more and more cyclists each year that are getting into the sport, and everybody's individual. Everybody wants to express himself in a different way. You kind of want to show your personality through the apparel that you're wearing. So of course the companies sooner or later will be catering to that need as well, and we are no different. We want to have a wide range, because not necessarily everybody's gonna like maybe just one color or one design, but they might like something completely different. You never know.
Yes, cycling is fashion now. You can see it all over. It's a kind of state you do gonna give with cycling itself, and furthermore with the equipment and the apparel, or we call our apparel equipment, which you are wearing, and this is reflecting also yourself. So people are looking for what they would like to look like, and also what is necessary to have a joyful ride on the bike.
I think a lot of new cyclists, they come into the sport like they want to have the best possible bike that they can afford, but I think most of them neglect the apparel side of things, because in my opinion I think apparel or equipment is even more important than the bike, because the bike you can get it for maybe 1,000 euro and it will get you from A to B, when you start like really seriously cycling, then you can buy a better bike. Of course, it's going to go faster. It's going to be like, it's going to be better in every way. But with the equipment, I think a lot of, let's say, a lot of problems that new cyclists have, I think it's more related to the equipment side, because they buy the cheapest equipment there is, and they have a bike for 5,000-6,000 euro, and they feel like they're not that something is missing. So how would you, let's say, pitch to the new cyclists? What are the most important things for you when you start cycling?
Indeed, the bike is the center where it starts. It's important to have a good bike, to have good equipment. But as you already described, yes, it's crucial to have the right equipment on your body as well to have a joyful ride. If you don't have, you don't feel good. It will be a nightmare to have a long ride with the wrong shorts, with the wrong equipment, the upper equipment. You can enjoy it much more if you have the proper equipment.
I think it actually makes a bigger difference. But you have more difference between a good pair of shorts and a bad pair of shorts than when you switch from a say 1,000 euro bike to a 5,000 euro bike. You're gonna feel more of a difference doing that switch. And the thing is, the apparel, the equipment, the clothes that you're wearing are the closest thing to your body. So it's like an extension of your body on the bike, and on the saddle. It's also naturally about the right position. So, like Peter said, a good bike is a good starting point. Then you need to find a neutral position for you on that bike through either bike fitting and whatever. But then you still feel a major difference in comfort if you really just go for basic clothes that you can buy at a supermarket, or if you really get something catered to your needs and fit.
Like in the past couple of years, I changed I don't know how many bikes. I even had a friend's bike, like the bike probably is more than 20 years old now, and like to me it was still riding okay. I put on my saddle, and that was pretty much it. Oh, and I put on the new tires, and that bike it got me to all of my rides okay. But I remember when I put on like one of the bib shorts that didn't suit me when I was on the pedals. There was air between my body and the chamois, and I said no, I just can't ride like this. I just sold like I think 26 pieces of jerseys and bibs for 260 euro. I just said like 10 euro every piece, and some of them I wore it maybe once or twice. So brand new equipment, just because like to me the equipment is the most important thing, like even more important than the bike, because the feeling on the bike, I think when you have the right position, it doesn't matter which bike you have, because you can get it pretty close on almost every bike. And the equipment, if it's the wrong one, you will something will be bothering you all the time. So
and the longer the ride,
the
more you notice it, the more you suffer, and the more joy you get from riding. Yeah, it's actually then the opposite of joy.
With the bib shorts, you feel it like right away when you start riding. I know when I put on the new Equipe RS, the upper cover of the chamois was, I don't know, the material was so soft. When I started, I was just like, oh, that's good.
The first time you
the first time
you had to S2.
No. The first time with the new S9, it's just like it was special. So when I came to the shop, I told all the guys, you need to try it. You won't be disappointed. Just buy this one, because back then the lower bib shorts, so the less expensive ones, didn't have the same bibs, and the material was a little bit different. So yeah, I just told everybody, just buy those bibs, and because
it's enormous. If you let's say, for example, wear an S2 and then you compare it with the S7 or the S9, it's a total difference between that. But perhaps it would be the same with the bike. If you ride a steel frame and then you switch over to a nice carbon frame, which is very stiff and very fast, there is also a different, times changes and materials changes and developing goes on and on.
And how come let's say, cyclists especially, we don't talk that much about the upper equipment, so the shirts. And in my opinion, especially when you go on the longer rides, when you have almost everybody has a phone inside, the keys, some couple of gels, maybe you have a wind vest or something like that, so the pockets are pretty full. And when you put on a jersey that not that it doesn't fit you, but the material is just a little bit, it's not designed how it should supposed to be. And like with Assos jerseys, especially, I only have the RS jerseys, and yeah, when you put it on, I remember with different brands, I needed to check my jersey like every 15 minutes. I needed to pull it down or put it higher. Like with Assos, when I go on a 150 or 200 kilometer ride, everything stays pretty much the same. You don't need to check anything.
So I think why we're speaking more about the lower part is that's what you feel the most, because when you're thinking comfort on the bike, this is the one of the three contact points that you have with the bike, are two arms and your bottom. But jerseys equally important, like you mentioned. It needs to sit in the right place, needs to have the right breathability, it needs to keep you at a constant level, be breathable, dry out quickly, and then help you extract the sweat to the outside. So it's as important, and the longer the distance, you're gonna feel it more. But I think most of the people focus on the lower part because this is like where it's really painful for some.
Mm-hmm. But it's plain to see good jerseys compared to bad jerseys. You see it while the pockets are running down, you don't have it on the right position, and this is where you can differentiate good upper jerseys or apparel from not technical driven apparel. The way pockets are constructed is slightly different. Yeah.
What would be the best advice for, let's say, if you guys were salesmen on the floor and somebody comes in, sees a shirt, Equipe RS, that's 170 or 180? 180, and compare it to, he will say, yeah, but I saw a shirt that looks, maybe to him it looks the same, and it costs half of that money. So how would you convince somebody that, what pointers would you give to him that you need to look at that thing? And because most of the customers that come to the store, they only look with their eyes, so they see the right color, that's pretty much it. And they just say, okay, yeah, let's go to the cashier, and that's it for me. So how can they see the difference or find the difference between like a good shirt and something that's average or even below average?
Yeah, first the whole construction of the jersey. Just describe how it is shaped, the patterns of that, and the material which is used. Touch it, and then try it on. Try to get into the right position, and then you're gonna feel how a jersey is fitting. And this is something which is hard to see obviously whether it is good or not. You really have to see that, to touch that, to stretch that. Especially on the rear side, we have a mesh which is asymmetrical. Horizontal wise, it's very stretchy, and it gives you the freedom to move into that position. While it is on the vertical, it is very, very stiff to keep the pockets on the right position, and this makes, let's say, kind of more or less wrinkle-free fitting of the jersey, and this is something you should look like. Yeah.
Okay. So if I understand correctly, they can also try to extend the jersey in a couple of directions, and they can see if it extends too much. So
Yeah. So most likely, if you have a four-way stretch material, the jersey, whenever you load your pockets fully, will be hanging much lower. You've seen multiple examples of it, I'm sure. The other thing to watch is how the jersey is cut. It needs to be cut asymmetrically with a shorter front and longer back, because when you're riding, you cannot have too much material in at the bottom in the front of the jersey, because it will be just too much. It will be in your way. Then what's also important are just the materials that the jersey is made of. Are they breathable enough? Can they transfer the moisture to the outside? Will they dry quickly because they absorb water, or do they just push it out? It's all important factors. It's the same as with a good pair of bib shorts. It's not just one thing that makes a good pair of bib shorts, but it's all of the small things coming to play. It's a good bib straps, it's the good insert, the right lycra, the right cut, and the right fit. So it's the same with the jersey. It's a combination of all.
So the best thing probably when a customer comes to the store is try it on, try it with the bibs and the shirt, maybe even with the base layer, and go
First of all, also ask the person what type of rider are they, what kind of rides do they do, what are their needs. Then it will give you an indication as into which group of products will be the right ones for him or for her. And then you can dial in exactly what their needs is, what distance do they ride, what intensity, and so on.
Yeah, the staff have to raise questions. What is the demand of the riders? What are they doing? How is his body shaped? That's also important, because if we take the RS race shorts for a more robust body, it doesn't fit that well, but the other way around, a slimmer person doesn't feel good perhaps with a millet jersey. That's very important.
And the price doesn't matter. It's just about finding the right product for you. You can have a much better experience more often with a product that costs a bit less, but it's the right one for you. So
yeah, it depends on the cyclist.
yes, of course.
what would you guys say it's the product that is let's say that doesn't cost as much money, but it's probably one of the best products that Assos makes? Maybe something from accessories line?
Or
I think we were actually discussing that recently. Just our basic shorts. I know we've been talking shorts, but our basic shorts, the Miller GT bib short, it costs €140, but it just offers so much compared to everything else that you see on the market, and it's just a really good pair of whip shorts that you put on and that you forget that you have them on. There are of course lots of accessories and stuff like that. That's good, but that's what springs to my mind in first.
Products of the arm foils, knee foils, and leg foils. This is really a very smooth material. Keeps you warm, but not too warm. It's really also while you have it on your knees where you need to bend that during the ride. It's a nice material, and I like these very much. To me, this is presently the best which we have in accessory.
I'm still riding the arm warmers and knee warmers. I think from the S7 they still work perfectly. And regarding the new, I think the socks that we have, so the Mille GT socks are wonderful, and also the Super Leggera socks. When you touch them, you kind of go, maybe these aren't as good. But when you put them on, like probably the best socks, even like the previous ones, the RS line socks, they were really stiff when you try to put them on, like it was really hard. But once you got them on and you went for a ride, they were like probably the best socks. Like I think they're really undervalued with regarding the socks. I think you guys make probably the best socks that are.
One other group of products, actually that's in their group, are the skin layers that we do, like the base layers. And they are, for me, also very important. Like you mentioned before, depending on which one you use, you can extend the range of temperatures that you can ride a certain jacket. We can have a jacket with a different base layer. You can ride it from 0 degrees to almost 20 degrees, just depending on what you have underneath. What shocked me the most is one, how quickly they dry, and two is that with them you never get that feeling that you've been sweating a lot and you get the really nasty smell. Just don't get it with them because they have an antibacterial materials in them, and especially when I remember when back in the day we were going skiing and you went on the lift or in the gondola, you just unzipped the jacket and then the smell came from like an old base layer. Like, ooh, I better zip back. And with those, it's just not there. It's just, and they feel natural. They're breathing well.
Yeah, I think that's really good for when you go for, let's say, a cycling trip or something like that you cannot wash it every day. So if you have a base layer, like, yeah, to me that's also one of, I have a couple of Assos base layers and I only use those. I have the spring fall, the winter one, the spring fall short sleeve one, and then I have a couple of summer ones. My
favorite is the short sleeve spring fall.
Yeah, I use that one a lot. Yeah. So close to the end. So the club gear collection that you guys have. So the name suggests that it's for the clubs. So how did that come about? What's the story behind the club gear? Because I think every year a couple of more products are added to the collection. And how long does it take to make? And
that's club gear comes probably from Italy, because in north of Italy there are tons of clubs riding every Sunday morning with 20 or even more riders, all wearing the same in tutti frutti colors, we call it as well. And this is probably the name comes from. Club gear is our, let's say, mirrored line to have it customized for either your club or your team. We have had a pro team and we aim to have a new one in the future again. We have some companies who would like to have their apparel branded on their own. There are some guys or a group of riders, not really a club, also would like to have a specific design or whatever. That is what is club gear for. And the lead time is of about 2 months. That's perhaps a longer time, but we offer really the Assos quality on all that products. They are mirrored from the collection. Not every product is possible to get on the club gear, but the most important parts from winter to summer are available and to be customized by whomever.
Yeah, and it gives you a chance to have your own vision expressed in a way on a cycling jersey or a cycling bib shorts, jacket, whatever. It's it's a form where you can be yourself fully.
So the last questions that I have, we are pretty fashion oriented. So right now, nobody really wants like a big logo on the shirt or anything that, or a lot of people are like that they don't want to express or maybe have the company's logo on their jersey. So the question is, what is the perfect cycling kit for you guys? So what color, what shoes? And don't go with the brands, just color-wise. What would you guys wear?
I think when it comes to the shoes, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I prefer white shoes and white socks. I like the conservative design a lot, nice and clean lines, and it has to all match well. It's important that you have good materials, and a good material also gives the color in a much different way than a cheap one or just a simple material. So it's I would tend more into the conservative line, but sometimes there are some jerseys that on paper look like crazy, but once you put them on, it just makes sense. So what I also like about Assos shorts is they go well with any type of jersey. You can have the craziest design up top, but our shorts are usually a bit more toned down, and they just bring everything to an elegant standpoint.
Yeah.
Mostly what, black jersey or?
No, I like different colors, like pastel colors. I like a lot. So my wardrobe is like full palette. Depends on the mood also. Then you have to match it with the glasses, with the helmet. And
I'm also more classy than rather than having those super fancy patterns or shiny colors. Mostly I like blue and red, which is my favorite for the jerseys. And I almost only used black shorts. We had some blue ones or white ones, and in the past we had even yellow and red ones. You remember those? Yeah. I would never choose these. That's too far from what I would like to look like. But yeah, that's really depending on the person also.
I still have the yellow ones with the yellow cow jersey.
Yeah. Next time come over with that.
it's gonna be a statement.
Thankfully, we have our own club gear line, so I think the jerseys and the gear is better from that line than that. Maybe the jersey would be okay, but the bibs, they're almost see-through now. So that's what S2 collection, that's 15 years ago. Yeah, so okay, you're pretty much it. Thanks for your time. If you have anything to add regarding Assos, what the people can look out for, do you have any?
I think the one thing we haven't mentioned is also what we were different a bit to other companies. It's just the attention to detail and the attention to quality. All of the Assos products are made in Europe, like 99%. And because of that, we can actually have a certain level of quality. We can make sure that we're not taking advantage of anyone. We're sticking to the ISO norms and you know, having the best quality we can get. And we have suppliers that we've been working with for over 30 years that know exactly what our level of expectations when it comes to the product. So when the product does hit the shelves in the shops, that it's the right one.
Okay. I have one more question now that you mentioned. So you guys been working with. I just want to know if it's true or not. So you guys been working with the Chamois company here in I think in Italy, as well.
It's Cytec. It's elastic
interface. And is it true that like all of the other brands have their chamois exposed to the public, and only for Assos you need a special, let's say, key to get in, or is that?
The thing is, there is no such key. We're working with them. We've been developing the inserts together with them, and it's been a cooperation. And because of that, we're naturally protecting all that work that we've put into those products. So they're not available to the public, and you only see them in Assos products. You will see products of that company, the inserts in other shorts, but they are like you said, from the available pool. And the other aspect when it comes to the chamois is it's not just the chamois itself; it's the way it's attached to the shorts. And that's other thing that's special for us. You can see if you actually have a pair of shorts. So maybe it's just better to show it. The chamois is not fully attached, and it's a pattern that we're calling the Golden Gate. And this is a potential, like on paper, a very simple solution, but it brings such a difference in comfort, because whenever you're moving around on the bike, this can just move independently, and you're not rubbing the insert on your body. It's just the Lycra underneath is doing all the work for you, and the friction and additionally the lack of seams on the side just makes the pair of bib shorts so much more comfortable.
Yeah, when I went to a couple of different companies, they tried to explain why their bib shorts are the best. One year at Eurobike, it was funny because I went to, I think, 3 different companies, and all of them compared themselves to you guys. So they said, these are our shorts and they're better from Assos, and these are our shorts and they're better from Assos. And it was, to me, it was just like, okay, there are like, I don't know how many cycling apparel brands, and how come like all of the best ones compared to Assos?
That's an honor for us that they compare with us, as we might be the bench on the market in terms of shorts. We always aim to have the best products, whether we can reach it or not. We know that we do pretty good shorts, and we hope we do the best. We never know, but
there's still,
work to do.
And there's always another step. I mean, if we just said, okay, they're just the perfect shorts, then we would still be at the S2 generation. But each time we try to find new ways to improve.
Yeah, I think we managed to tell a lot of let's say history a little bit, and also why Assos is one of the best companies in cycling. To me, like, it was really an honor to be here, and also when I did some research regarding the company, I didn't know that Assos meant the first in Greek. So that was one of the maybe to get like personality-wise the picture of Assos. So you always strive for the best, and also to me the best hashtag in cycling, sponsor yourself. That's, to me, it's probably the best hashtag that anybody can use, because it really does help you out a lot if you have the especially with the bib shorts, and then when you move to that point that you also have the jersey as well, the feeling on the bike, it's totally, yeah, it's special once you can get that. So okay, that's pretty much.
Thanks for sticking to us.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Läuft noch? No.